I'm sure most of you are like me, and you hate going to the library at Fullerton College. Well, I've been going here for about 2 years, and I just barely realized how many things the library has to offer. And my quote is, it's a Chinese proverb. It says, "Teachers open the door, but you must enter by yourself." I agree with this quote because just like at Fullerton, there's a lot of resources that us as students don't realize we have. So I'm going to point out why we don't use these resources and how this relates to the workplace. First, the reason why most students don't use these resources is because we don't know that they're there. Just like me, I didn't know there was a writing center, of course, and I didn't know that there was a, like you can go into the library and they can basically have like everything you need in there. They help you out with, if you're writing a paper and you don't know how to write it, they sit there with you, they help you write it, and that's just a resource that most students could use. And most of us don't really use it just because we don't have time or we don't know it's there. Another reason students don't use these resources is because we have other things to do. Like my first semester here, I used to go to school all day. Like I would come at 8 and leave at 7. And if I had a break between classes, I would just go home and forget. I wouldn't stay here for the rest of the day, and I would miss the rest of my classes just because I didn't want to stay here. But if you go and you find out there's things you can do, like in the library, there's a lot of things that you can do to keep up with your work. And instead of just wasting time and leaving and going home and having to do your work later, you could go in there and get all your stuff, and it's really efficient, and you get your things done. Another way this helps, this proverb is, like, works for me, is in the workplace. My aunt got me my first job. Like, basically every job that I've had, I've gotten because of somebody in my family. And basically that's the same thing as a teacher opening the door, but you have to enter by yourself. Like, they get you the job, but it's up to you to kind of like keep up with it and do good at it. I started working as a Disney princess, and my friend basically, well, she didn't get me the job, but she kind of helped me get into the job. And as much as she helped me, I had to kind of like make a name for myself and kind of like keep up with my work and do really good in order to stay at the job and be successful at it. So in conclusion, I've shown you 2 different ways how this proverb affects your lives as students and in the workplace. And I agree with this quote, and I hope that you guys will enter yourselves.
All right, Andy, the opening is solid. You've got a good thesis. Your preview, I'm not sure that the 2 things are connected as well as they could be, especially the way you've gone with the thesis, but I can see the way you are relating it to your experience there. The second point, I think, needs a little bit more development. It's not as illustrative of the point that you were trying to make as it could be, and you don't have the same kind of detail that you had on the first point. But I thought the content was actually pretty nicely developed. Your voice projects well. There's good animation and variety in your voice. There are occasional transition issues. You have the tendency to do the sort of thing, not just when you're going from one idea to the next, but sometimes in the middle of sentences. So you want to work a little bit on that. It wasn't excessive, but it was noticeable. Gestures, they are generally good. You're animated when you're talking to us. You have very solid eye contact. Now, you do look confident while you're standing there. At least that's what the impression I had at first, but the longer you were up there, the less comfortable I was, because you've got your 2 feet planted in the one spot. There's no movement from that particular position. I thought, now that is a little bit odd, you know, so you might want to, instead of swinging around a little bit while you're speaking like that, maybe take a step to the side or shift your weight a little bit. I know you want to have good posture, but it did look a little bit like you were a tree planted in that one particular spot. And that was and it's not a huge problem. It's not something that was detracted from your speech a lot, but it did suggest maybe there is an anxiety issue. I thought that you had a solid exit at the end of the speech. For the most part, your points were purposeful, and that's what we're looking for. Thank you.